Urgent Raiders fan! Look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything! What does Raiders' latest signing mean for Michael Mayer? Las Vegas made things interesting when they signed a veteran tight end on Tuesday. When the Las Vegas Raiders hired general manager John Spytek and head coach Pete Carroll, this offseason, the intention was to give this franchise a complete makeover. They would no longer be the laughingstock of the AFC West, as they were hiring an experienced head coach who had been to the mountaintop of the NFL and a general manager who had played a pivotal role in several successful front offices. This meant that there was destined to be plenty of roster turnover this offseason after a 4-win campaign in 2024. This came in the form of losing half of their defensive starters from last season in free agency and acquiring cheaper, high-value players. To replace them, trade rumors have swirled around some of the team's expendable players as well, including running back Zamir White and tight end Michael Mayer. However, the Raiders made a signing on Tuesday that signaled what the team intends to do with Mayer. Does Raiders' signing of Ian Thomas affect Michael Mayer? The Raiders announced on Tuesday that they were signing veteran tight end Ian Thomas, which could indicate that Michael Mayer is not going anywhere. At this point in his career, Thomas is simply a blocking tight end, which poses no threat to Mayer's playing time or livelihood with the franchise. Thomas is a 7-year NFL veteran who comes to Las Vegas after spending his entire career with the Carolina Panthers. He is averaging just 150 receiving yards per season and has not had over 200 yards since his rookie year all the way back in 2018. If Las Vegas intended to move Mayer this offseason, they might have added a tight end with more receiving upside in free agency, but they let Harrison Bryant walk and landed on Thomas, who has a total of 8 catches over the last 2 seasons. Mayer still figures to be the number 2 tight end behind Brock Bowers, but with few solutions at wideout or in the backfield, he could see his duties increase this season under offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, who is known to cleverly scheme players open. Las Vegas used a second-round pick on Mayer in 2023, and while his production has not popped off the page, he is an integral member of the locker room and has the opportunity to play his first full season in 2025. While Mayer could always be moved. Later in the offseason, as any player could be, the signing of Ian Thomas does nothing to indicate that Mayer is on the way out. In fact, by signing a different style of tight end, it actually reinforces how much the team values his skill set. Pausing this news, just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Raider Nation news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks! Now let's get back to the news. Raiders free agency fans want a Cooper reunion. Fans are in favor of former first-round pick coming back. The Las Vegas Raiders are still in search for a starting wide receiver, a number 1 option if possible, and many fans would be in favor of the team reuniting with a former top pick in free agency. The free agent market at the position is drying up, and it thinned more this week when the New England Patriots signed Stefon Diggs. We recently asked our community members which of the remaining free agents they'd like to see the Raiders sign in. Free agency. They options were Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, Elijah Moore. None of the above. Related Raiders free agency wide receiver options then. In a poll with 139 votes cast, the winner in a fairly tight contest was the former Raider Cooper, who was the Raiders' first-round draft pick in 2015 and was traded to the Dallas Cowboys in 2025. Cooper received 352 votes, 31%, while Lockett received 300 votes, 26%. Allen received 241 votes, 21%, and Moore received 80 votes percent. There were 166 votes, 15%, that don't want the Raiders to sign any of the 4. Related Raiders free agency scorecard, it makes sense that fans would be interested in a Cooper reunion. He is one of the best free agents available regardless of position, and he could start for the Raiders. Perhaps we will see him don the silver and black again in 2025. Raiders prospect profile Alabama QB Jalen Milroe. With the 2025 NFL Draft next month, the Las Vegas Raiders have many holes to fill on their roster after losing several starters in free agency but doing little in an attempt to replace them. With the 6th overall pick, the team could opt to select an impact defender to lessen the blow of those losses. However, the biggest move the Raiders did make was trading for quarterback Geno Smith from the Seattle Seahawks. The team's starter for the next several seasons, Smith is reunited with head coach Pete Carroll and gives Las Vegas its best quarterback since Rich Gannon. Unfortunately, Smith is 34 years old, so Las Vegas would be wise to have a succession plan in place at the game's most important position. Typically, being armed with the 6th overall pick would be a terrific spot to grab a young signal caller, but, as has been mentioned countless times, the 2025 quarterback class is uniquely bad. As such, the team could look to make a move for a passer on day 2, where they still have a 2nd and 3rd round pick despite the trade for Smith. If they go in this direction, Alabama's Jalen Milroe appears to be the best fit as a raw passer who needs time on the sideline but has rare physical gifts. Raiders projected to reunite duo of former Ohio State players. With Chip Kelly for the first time in a while, the Las Vegas Raiders have a completely competent and experienced set of coaches, with Pete Carroll at the helm. While Antonio Pierce had incredible qualities as a leader and knows the game of football, he just lacked the acumen that Carroll and coaches like offensive coordinator Chip Kelly have from years of experience. On Thursday, ESPN's Matt Miller released a 7-round mock draft in which the Raiders select Ohio State running back Tre'Veyon Henderson and quarterback Will Howard in the 2nd and 5th rounds. This would reunite them with Coach Kelly, who was their offensive coordinator for the national champion Buckeyes last season. Las Vegas desperately needs help at the running back position after averaging a league-worst 79. 8 rushing yards per game last season. Henderson could fit the bill in the 2nd round as he split snaps with Quinshon Judkins in 2024, but still totaled 1,016 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns, as well as 284 receiving yards and a touchdown through the air. Despite adding Geno Smith this offseason, the Raiders could use a young understudy at quarterback, and Howard may make the most sense. Last year in Kelly's system, he completed 73 of his passes for 4,010 yards and 35 touchdowns, and added 226 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. As a new offensive coordinator for the Raiders, Kelly may be looking to add familiar players to help ease the transition back to the NFL. In that case, he may not find a better duo of players than Henderson and Howard, who both fill positions on the roster that need help. And now, Raiders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Raiders. I'll be back any moment with more Raider Nation news